the highs and wipe that makeup from my eyes. Fancy face that I despise, cause I know my man never lies. Come up fighting like the best, but then I'm better than the rest. And I wonder how my looks will last, because my life was really fast. And you wonder if you're on the turn. Oh baby, won't you ever learn that I'm the cut above the rest? Don't worry about the way I'm dressed. And if my makeup looks a mess, I'm not about to get depressed, cause I'm the one that loves to lose, just a loser in my fucking shoes. And I've got the touch and I've got the feel to make a good time really real. I'll just spit right in your face and push you all around the place. Just love to love, just love to live, just love to live, just love to love. And baby, are you so sure that you're the one that's insecure?
this old house, behind this locked door, something lives, something strange, something evil.
Stay away from the door!
It will possess this woman. It will destroy this man. It will terrify this child.
Help me!
And no one can stop it. Burnt Offerings, starring Karen Black, Oliver Reed, Betty Davis, Burgess Meredith, and Eileen Heckard. Behind this door lies a horror beyond imagination. Who is it? Where did it come from? What does it want? When you find out,
I was just cracking
it'll
up
be
at the
too late.
comments that you made about Little Black doing the best Moira Rose impression.
Burnt Offerings.
Before Moira
rated PG.
Rose, it was Moira Rose, inspired by Mirror Mirror.
Welcome back to the Drive-In ASYLUM double feature. I think you're onto something there, Justin.
Well, his comments are really, I mean, they got the ball rolling, so.
Como, let's do an audio check. Can we hear you? No, we can't hear you. So just refresh.
Damn it.
Well, we got it early. Now we know how to fix it.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So,
what did everybody think of Mirror Mirror? I'm excited to hear.
hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
You can.
So
People liked it.
yeah, I'm hoping everybody liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm still trying to figure out what happened at the end, which is a quality in a movie I really respect.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed kind of shining like they were hooked into it, Overlook Hotel style.
I like Karen Black really brings the outfits in this movie. I like her.
She really does.
That
And
blue
the
90s
unnecessary
crazy.
wig changes.
Yeah.
But
I was surprised.
You know what? I'm also a sucker for like 80s outfits. Like, give me a blazer with some big old shoulder pads, and I'm happy. So, and she delivers that.
Yeah, because I mean, even though this was 1990, as one of my college friends said, the 80s didn't really end until like 1992, so it's still pretty 80s. So
outfit wise, yeah, she definitely has like some like church lady outfits, like the ripped church lady outfits.
I love when they came to look at the house. She wore gloves, a matching purse. Like she had a full. Everybody was dressed up for the real estate agent.
As you do, yeah.
My favorite was the green with the leather jacket, the green dress with the leather jacket.
It was amazing.
That like tank the jumper kind of thing that she had.
Yeah. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that was the limit.
Yeah, she was like, ask your daughter what she thinks, and her daughter's like, I don't really think.
Yeah, I was really into the clothes in this movie too. I thought Rainbow Harvest looked amazing in every scene she was in. Absolutely. They gave her so many cool. She seemed like the lost member of the Revolution, Prince in the Revolution.
How about that hat that was just like swirls, that like plastic hat?
Yeah, that was not my favorite. Like it was like, but
sometimes you get to take big swings. Sometimes you miss. Sometimes you get home runs.
A sort of lesser known but in my mind very underrated movie that this film reminded me of was The Rage, Carrie 2. If anyone has seen that, because it kind of has a similar thing of it takes the sort of like outsider goth girl, but then she gets kind of hot and empowered. But then obviously crazy supernatural shit ends up happening around her. So it reminded me of that a little bit.
I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. I think you just wanted to really talk about The Rage, Carrie 2.
I know. I legit thought about that movie like towards the end. I'm not saying it's that similar, but yeah.
I mean, I think about that movie often too, so I'm not.
Well, you got another movie that gets a lot of trivia questions.
To talk about The Rage, Carrie 2, I'm all for it. So
I don't think I've done one of it. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. Yeah. I also really wanted to talk about the garbage disposal death scene for Karen Black because I thought that was pretty awesome.
I think that was the best one for sure.
They had this shot of her fingers and it was so clearly Carol syrup and that nothing had actually happened to her fingers, and they felt like if they had just lost that, it would have been a flawless scene because we could have just imagined it and it would have been like so much worse. But it was still pretty awesome.
I think it's funny that a movie about a mirror has multiple water-related deaths. There's a shower death, there's a bathtub death, there's a kitchen sink death. It's like, But
I didn't think about that, but that's
yeah.
It just hit me. That the school shower death is pretty intense with the scalding. Like I think I said when we were watching it, like that's where the budget went.
I mean, they also have the effects, for the father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just you barely even see them.
Yeah.
It was very dark.
Strange choices were made.
That was my problem with the garbage disposal death is I didn't see any shot of her mangled hand or what was supposed to be her mangled hand, and I was looking for it. Yeah. I was like, I want to see what they do with it. Like, is she missing part of her arm?
They didn't have money for that. They had money just for, corn syrup and food coloring.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Karen Black's a professional. She worked with it anyway. She sold it.
One thing I thought was really funny in this movie is there's two different incidents where something really horrifying happens at the school. Like first with Stephen Tobolowsky, like having the allergy attack. and almost dying, and then with the girl actually dying, this like horrible death in the shower, and like immediately the teachers are like, all right, back to class. Like they're still like, forget about like grief counseling or any sort of acknowledgement of how horrifying it is. It's just like, don't you all have like science, you know, like
That
The
teacher
water
was
polo team must get back in the pool now. Get back to practice.
that teacher was cold. Absolutely cold. There's, a teenager on her first day in a new classroom, and he's just giving her attitude from the minute she walks in there. That's a cold person.
I did also like that Rainbow Harvest wore full makeup into the pool. She was like, I know that
That's what I noticed that too.
Yeah, her eyes are
A
totally
full
done.
feet.
Like, that's not going to stick around, right? Yeah,
Well-
Becca brought up Wanda from Puppet Master 2 is one of the students in this. So there's a lot of folks that are in a lot of movies in this. They got a decent cast.
I thought the cast was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job.
I will say, if you're good, I saw a couple people say, should I watch the other Mirrors? I will tell
And
you,
you're
this
like,
is,
no.
no, this is the best one. So if the quality kind of,
I mean, you kind of sold me on like the part 4 when you said it was like a erotic thriller.
yeah,
I can't. I have a hard time saying no to that.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially since our movies now are so sexless, and the movies used to be so horny back in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like, we long for those days.
It's weird when you see younger people like arguing about this on Twitter that like there should be less of it in movies, and I'm like, why aren't you staying up watching Bedroom Eyes 2 on Cinemax like the rest of us? I
It's
know.
very bizarre. This whole Puritanism movement, it really it's not.
I don't
into it
either.
Is there not sex in movies anymore? I don't even.
There really isn't. Like, honestly, it's very becoming more and more rare. So I think a
don't
lot of it
even
has to
pay
do with
attention to that.
a lot of it has to do with so many of the mainstream movies being either I don't know, family or superhero, or it's just there's no, and it's funny, doesn't have to be that way, because a superhero movie I saw as a kid was Batman Returns, which is one of the most sex-drenched movies ever made. You know, but you wouldn't ever see that in a flippin' Marvel movie, So,
Yeah.
I was recently talking to an 18-year-old film fan, and he actually said, not to me, to somebody else, but he said, I hate it when there's sex in movies. It's so embarrassing. I don't want to go to a horror movie and see sex scenes. And I was like, what?
Oh,
That's
what's
crazy.
happening to the children?
Yeah, 18 years
What?
old.
What's happening to the foreign investors? That's why these scenes are in the movies. That's like your Roger Corman one where he's like, hey, this giant worm needs to assault you because some foreign investors want to see it. Like, okay.
Well, Judge
Yeah.
Judy always says that when a teenager, when their mouth is moving, they're lying. And
Yeah.
I hope she's right about him, because I would hate to think that 18-year-olds don't want to see boobs or bum or whatever in their
I think it's
horror
because
movies.
it's so easy for them now. They like to keep it hidden versus hey, we had up all night and
Yeah.
Cinemax after dark. So. But I'm glad everybody kind of enjoyed this. I'm excited because it's definitely not a frequently discussed movie, and I kind of there's some weird stuff. The ending doesn't make. Again, I'm thinking about it that that giant opening shows up and there's the weird. Is that the dad? You can write your own ending really for this movie, and I kind of dig that about it.
I feel like it's just kind of one of those movies that you just, you throw it on. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's fun to me. So
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I was really into it pretty much right from when it started. I think it might fall apart a little bit towards the end, but I think
it's a little too long, to be honest.
It's a little over long for sure. But
Give
then
me
I
a
thought,
crisp 90 minutes or less.
Oh, for sure.
I'm good.
Yeah.
for sure.
We picked
When
two
When I'm
long
looking
movies.
for movies,
tonight.
I'm like, if this is 78 minutes, it's totally for me. That's what I'm.
Oh, that's
I'm
why I
looking-
love shot on video stuff because
Yeah.
you're like an hour 15. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then you watch some of them and it feels like it's like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
exactly.
can work
The
both
real
ways.
deal,
Yeah.
as I like to say. But yeah, but I will say that like I really like, to me, the ending of this movie was really cool. Even if I didn't completely understand it, I liked the fact that they like went back into the past and sort of went back to the prologue and everything else. Like that was just like a fun, creepy touch. And then, like you said, you can kind of write your own ending about like what do you think that That's a great comment. Why the hell
Yeah.
would you put a dead pet?
Also, the blood was still there like 2 days later. Like she didn't clean the table.
Yeah.
And then like I like that she brought in this really fancy dessert, and she said to her daughter, "Do you want some dessert?" No. Okay, well I'm going to bed. And she just leaves the dessert on the table like overnight. Like put it in the fridge. Like it was very strange.
Movie.
I
Yeah,
imagine
that's
that
how
that
it
house
starts.
also has an ancient fridge that has like the handle that you pull down. Like it doesn't. There's no modern appliances in that house.
And then she just starts dating the guy from the Pet Cemetery. And I just
Yeah.
love how they just had to throw in the word Pet Cemetery because this is like a year after that came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
She
thing
also,
with
it's
Rainbow
like-
Harvest too.
How
She's
long?
like-
Like she even calls out that dad just died. Like it doesn't seem like it's that long. She's already in bed with the Pet Cemetery guy.
I think I said that to my partner while we were watching the movie. I'm like, yeah, she's like pretty much dancing on like the father's grave. And she's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, it was gratuitous.
Also, fun fact that the guy that she hooks up with, I know he's a character actor who's done a lot of stuff, but what I know him from was True Blood. He was on the sheriff. He was the sheriff on True Blood. So
Right on.
Yep.
And Leslie's riding instructor, Stephen Tobolowsky, too, from Leslie from Keep My Grave Open. I love that, and half the time I don't even recognize the people, like those crossover people from movie to movie, and then later I'll look on an IMDb thing. I'm like, wait, they're in that movie. I go back and look. Oh, that's them. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
well, Stephen Tobolowsky. I mean, I saw his name in the credits, but even if I had missed that, as soon as you see Stephen Tobolowsky, there's no mistaking him. I mean, nobody else looks like that. So
Yeah. So, anything else we want to say about Mirror Mirror before we move on to our second feature of the night, Burnt Offerings?
Not really. I'm a fan. I like it. I enjoy it. It's fun.
It's a good one.
She did have Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder vibes in this movie.
Oh,
You got to
absolutely.
admit.
Oh, they
I love to
absolutely
say
got it from that.
She is a bootleg Lydia Deetz.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
poor man's version of, because this was 2 years after Beetlejuice, so of course they're gonna, capitalize on that, make her the, the goth alternative chick.
yeah.
That was like the one at this point. That was the one touchstone for goth girls. Like that's there aren't a lot at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it would be a good party movie. I think somebody said earlier it's don't pay too much attention to it. It's something you could put on at a party and turn the sound down and just let people figure out
Absolutely.
what's going on.
I think they're totally right.
I
Bill
did that to
Nora's
Sam
review
a
was it
couple
was
times.
better than The Child. So there
Of
you
course
go.
she's going to say that. Thank you, Nora. I want to know that you're watching.
Yeah, that's a party movie for Bill. Put on The Child in the background.
That's
Yeah,
how you
definitely.
first saw it.
Yeah, it is. I saw it with Bill playing a mixtape in the background, very loud, and I'm like, oh, this is The Child.
Yeah.
It was one of the Halloween parties. I put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the look of it was pretty cool. It was definitely more of an 80s film, even though technically it came out in 1990. It looked a lot like the 80s. This is something I had never seen until you brought it up. So thanks for suggesting it. I really.
What do you think? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I like it. It's
It's
Karen
fun.
Black. I have to like it.
Yeah.
Even Island of the Alive is good because Karen Black's in it. It's a 3. All right. So I definitely am a bigger fan of the second movie we're going to watch tonight, which is one of those movies that's just ingrained in my DNA, Burnt Offerings.
And mine too, because my dad loves it and is the one who introduced me to it. So
yeah.
Yep.
Does your dad think it's scary?
Oh yeah, he definitely thought it was scary. Particularly, I mean, everybody always talks about the hearse driver. I think that was the main thing.
Yeah.
That he was into. And he also, like my mom, they both grew up watching Dark Shadows, and this is Dan Curtis, so I don't know if that's part of it. But yeah, it's just,
Dan Curtis
a cool,
based
creepy
the
movie.
Dan Curtis based the limo driver on a real incident in his life.
Really?
There was, the guy who was driving the hearse for his grandmother's funeral was giggling during the funeral, and it was so upset. He was a little kid, and it was so upsetting to him that image stuck in his head, so he put that into the movie.
Ooh, no wonder it's so creepy, because it's like real childhood trauma. Like,
yeah, he had been living with that trauma for like 50 years. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Dan Curtis was like the king of horror TV and movies too. He did the two Dark Shadow movies, and like I love all his stuff. Like it has such a cool like 70s lived in kind of thing. That's why I like this movie a lot.
Absolutely. And I noticed that the composer, and the music is good, Robert Colbert, he's the composer of Dark Shadows. So he brought him onto this.
He did all that crucial Dan Curtis stuff. Dan Curtis's movies, even though this is a theatrical film, and so was House of Dark Shadows. I'm not sure if he directed that one. I get them mixed up.
Whatever.
Sometimes.
It was still a Dan Curtis joint.
Yeah, you got it. And I don't know. It still looks like a TV movie to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Even his theatrical films they have that TV look, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe his TV just looks theatrical.
Yeah. He did Gargoyles as well, right?
No, I don't think that was Dan Curtis.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm just thinking that because Grayson Hall is in it.
Oh, I love Grayson Hall. Dr. Hoffman.
Who was going to direct this movie before he did? Bob Fosse was going to direct this movie.
Really?
Wow.
After Sweet Charity. Like he had talked to them about doing it. I don't even know what this movie would look like otherwise. Like maybe that jump out the window would have been more perfectly pitched out the window.
Yeah.
There definitely would have been a lot more jazz hands in it. And there should be.
There should be.
Well, I mean, this has Betty Davis in it, so there's
What were you going to say, Coma?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen this movie in years, so I don't have much to say about it right now. So it's almost like a first time watch again for me because I don't remember it at all.
I'm excited to see what you think. I do know that, surprise, Betty Davis did not like Karen Black at all. She said that he didn't give her the proper respect that she deserved. Which,
I mean, did Betty Davis like anybody? I feel like
no.
Yeah, exactly.
She needed like something to keep her interested in everything she did. Like the first day she saw Karen Black, she was like, "That bitch," and like nothing had even happened yet.
But I will say in her defense, I mean, I think that like this is actually a pretty decent part for Betty Davis, and I think she's able to be. I mean, she's one of the greatest movie stars ever, and she's able to be great in the movie. But she might have also been kind of pissed off at this point that like she went from being this huge movie star to being in this super low budget, kind of. I mean, it's good, but it's like basically a hokey horror film. So maybe there's a little bit of that too.
Probably.
Like I'm playing second banana to this twit, and I'm in this movie, So
that's a bitter pill to swallow, I think.
It is.
I was waiting until the Oliver Reed comments would start, and Mike already started them, that he would have given Oliver Reed the proper respect.
We can talk about Oliver Reed.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the first person to bring him up.
Yeah.
Oliver Reed in Curse of the Werewolf. Hello, father.
Oliver Reed in Women in Love. wrestling.
I don't know that. I don't think I'm like too familiar with.
I've heard about it.
Oh.
Yeah, there's like a big wrestling scene. I know.
Yeah, there he wrestles Alan Bates naked in front of a roaring fireplace.
All right, stop the stream right now. I need to go watch this.
Oh, this is you don't know what's been missing from your life, Coma, until you've seen
Clearly.
this. Ken Russell. It's a Ken Russell joint. Women in
Oh,
Love.
Yeah.
okay, well,
Also,
The
Lee
new
Montgomery
director.
from Ben is in this too. That's the other somewhat big star. And the Dunsmuir Mansion from Phantasm is the house in this. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. The thing that shocks me the first time I saw this, I'm not going to say too much because especially we have some folks like Homa who it's a first time watch for you, but the swimming scene in this movie really freaked me out the first time I saw it. Like I was actually kind of shocked. This movie feels like a full length like night gallery to me, and that's probably why I like it. So
Yeah,
but it's
I could see that.
yeah. And like Bill said, it feels very TV movie like it, but I love that.
Yeah.
So here's some ads we can look at. There's lots for this, so get comfortable. There's a lot to look at. Here's a preview ad. This was.
It doesn't even say the movie. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Or
It's
it
a
doesn't say the
secret,
title. I mean,
Justin.
wow.
You had to wait till you got there to see what. But with Betty Davis in the cast, it's got to be good. It's got to be high class.
She's like, why is my name not first?
Yeah.
or you probably that sounds about right.
Oh.
Ice bath of terror.
Ice bath. Ooh.
I like that.
I'm like, is that an enticement or a threat? Just when you think it's all over, it gives you more.
I like that they like maybe that's not enough. What if we say we urge you not to come alone? Can you take the shock and now see it uncut? Like there's like a lot of promise here.
It really is.
We hope you like us. It says underneath.
I don't know how. And well, Betty Davis did get to be one of the main images in the ad campaign.
That is true.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably why she agreed to do it. She's like, I need to be advertised.
Oh look, my pictures in the paper. There was a nifty little teaser ad series that ran for this too, and here's 3 of them that we get to look at. Do not go.
Somebody in
beyond
the
this
comments
door.
mentioned "Scream Pretty Peggy," which
Yeah,
I just saw. I think maybe last year for the first time. Wasn't great, but I do like that Betty Davis later on did a lot more horror. But I think when it comes to horror, Joan Crawford,
yeah.
takes the cake.
Bring me the axe. This is interesting because Beyond the Door had just been a big hit in theaters in 1975, and this was 76. So they were definitely sort of implying that you would see a movie that was kind of like Beyond the Door.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get it. It's not really about demonic possession, like Beyond the Door was, but anyway, it was.
But
it was
also,
a good.
just
when
the
did that
pure
ever stop a
exploitation
marketer?
of
Yeah. Do not enter
capitalizing
this
on
house.
other movies.
Don't go in the house. I love how this tagline, it says, "A room from which no one has ever returned." Wow. What could that possibly be? Warning, at the end of this movie, you still won't know.
Yeah.
So, cute little
Don't do
teaser.
anything according to these ads. Don't get in the pool. Don't go up the stairs. Don't open the door.
I mean, isn't this the whole reason why there's that Edgar Wright did his trailer and called it Dote? Because there were so many Dotes
Yeah.
movies.
So Carrie was a movie that it ran with after its initial appearance in theaters. I don't know. I think they make an interesting pair.
Yeah.
Here they've got Demon Seed with them.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of times at Drive-In Asylum, I'll see like double and triple feature ads, and I'll be like, "Oh wow, that would have been something to see those all together."
Yeah. I want to. We always say we're going to set the time machine so that we have a lot of movies to see. Here's a nice big ad. This was a high profile, big release movie, United Artists. And they used a lot of different images too. I mean, these shots of the house, they're all different in every ad. But you normally don't see that.
Oh, what? What a night.
Yeah.
Oh,
It starts classy and gets progressively less so.
that's what I love. Right around between the
yeah.
second and third movie, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, from Burn Offerings to 2 Euro horror films.
Yeah.
A little earlier. Well, I guess they were almost contemporary. I think both of those movies were 73. Dracula's Great Love and Vampire's Night Orgy.
Yeah.
Leon
They'll raise your hair. Burgess Meredith did not make it onto this poster. He's like the last name. Like that's the dividing line.
Well, it's funny that they advertised him and Eileen Heckert so much because, I mean, they're barely in it. They're pretty much
Exactly.
I almost forget that he's in it.
But we're back to the first one there. Here's the next panel. I know every bit of this house, I feel like. They need some chimney work.
This house feels like it would be very expensive to upkeep. It's so big.
Isn't that
What's
the
the
whole
heating
plot of
bill?
the movie?
The house in the movie, the heating bill has to be huge. These are the things I think about as I get older. I don't think about the supernatural. I think about the practical of living in the Burn Offerings house.
Well, I was joking to my boyfriend because I was watching this earlier, and she's doing so many chores around the house, and I was like, this is her idea of a summer vacation, is just like doing all this cleaning work. I guess that's kind of American, like that your vacation is work.
Yeah. Oh, this ad bill is great.
Yeah, they really get into it here. The mother, the father, the landlord, the aunt, the sister.
They really jammed the type in there. They even have, is that a quote from Betty Davis on the right?
No, it's one of those, notice the management isn't responsible if you pass out during this movie.
I love it.
Oh, Bill, are you going to make that same claim if people pass out while they watch it at home?
I can't say yay or nay.
Okay.
I'm not going to get sued by anyone who passes out. It might not be from the movie.
We'll send you a
Depends on how many of the theme cocktails you have.
Yeah, exactly. This next one might do it.
So here's the British run, too. This was in May of 1977 by the time it got overseas. Best horror film of the year at the Sitges Film Festival, I think.
Betty Davis is last on these ones. That's the sneaky, like, last is best kind of move here.
Yeah, the important one was always at the end.
Yeah.
The important guest star. Coma, you could use this for another ad, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
This nice gravestone. Okay, so I guess I feel like there was more. Oh, yeah, this one.
There we go.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I had to share this one because somebody just cut it out and used it for the Hell Night ad.
That's funny.
They both have houses in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's practically the same movie.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. I'd like to make these movies, remix these two movies together. Then I'll have Hell Night of Burn Offerings.
How's your microphone, Coma?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Our little problem
So
didn't
wasn't
happen.
I don't know if the house or if there's like a mansion in it. Wasn't that also in Phantasm?
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty wild.
Morningside Mortuary. Phantasm like goes all Rocky Horror Picture Show in that scene, doesn't it? where the mansion sort of like evaporates.
I don't remember.
It's been a long time since I saw that.
Yeah, at the end of Rocky Horror, the mansion just sort of like disappears.
Because they
ripped
shoot it into space in Rocky Horror, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was what they were doing in Phantasm too.
Yeah.
Phantasm is a remake of the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
okay.
just with no songs.
Yeah.
We need to do it Shadowcast of it where we just throw wiffle balls at people during the movie when the silver ball comes up.
I saw this guy with the greatest tall man costume, and he had taken basically a Christmas ornament and made like a silver sphere to be like on his lapel with like the spike on it. It was great.
Oh man,
that's best costume, hands down, at whatever party he went to.
Well, it was an old video bar in Williamsburg, and they had a Halloween cop party, and it was maybe the best Halloween party I've ever been to, because you got all the film nerds, and they were going all out in their costumes, so it was a good time.
So I have a question for each of our guests. I'll start with you, Coma. Talk about a movie that really scared you when you were younger, that sort of got you into horror movies. Can you think of anything that stands out?
Okay, so I have, two answers for this. So I can pinpoint what got me into horror, and it's not that it really scared me, but that's like just I guess what got me into it. And it's three things. It's Goosebumps, the TV show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, and the Monster Squad. So those three things I feel like really kind of made me a horror fan. But something that I can specifically remember like scaring me was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which I was in 5th grade when that came out. My sister took me to see that. And, at that time, I had not seen anything that violent or brutal. And the scene where she blows her head off, the hitchhiker in the car, we had to walk out. And I cried. And, my sister felt so bad. To make it up for me, she bought me House of a Thousand Corpses on VHS from Blockbuster.
Doesn't that same thing happen in that movie too?
Not really, not to that extent. And I suppose I had no difficulty watching that. But I specifically remember being very scared of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake. I remember being creeped out by The Ring as well. And those are like two things that scared me.
How about you, Justin?
Well, I remember, like I said, my dad really got me into horror and showed me a lot of things. He rented me the original Halloween to watch, and it really, really scared me. And I think we watched it in the summer, so I thought that my fan or air conditioner, I thought it was like Michael Myers breathing. I remember it like freaking me out. But then that ended up becoming one of my favorite films, and I love that whole franchise. And kind of on a related note, when I was really little, probably 4 or something like that, I walked into the living room. I had woken up in the middle of the night, and my dad was watching the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I saw that terrible scene where he's walking down the alleyway with the arms getting longer and longer. Scared the shit out of me. I had nightmares for months. He felt, terrible that I had inadvertently walked in on that scene. But then cut to several years later, we went to this used bookshop, and I got the official Nightmare on Elm Street companion. And I remember him saying, I can't believe that movie scared you so much and gave you all those nightmares. And now you're buying a book about it. And I think that just kind of sums it up. It's scared the crap out of me, but then I loved it. It became a fan, So.
Dream Warriors was one of the first newer horror movies I watched at a party, when I was in middle school. And I remember being so worried about it, so freaked out because, it was pumped up as a big deal. And then after I watched it, I'm like, this is awesome. It's and that was kind of my, that and Fright Night were my kind of gateway drugs into newer horror. I remember my dad. Go ahead. Sorry.
I specifically also remember too, just because my sister used to tape everything off of TV, so she had all these tapes with all this stuff on it, and I would watch Monster Squad like religiously, but also on the same tape was Night of the Living Dead, the remake, and I remember just like she would always tell me, once Monster Squad finishes, turn it off, and I left it. I kept watching, and I remember I was just watching that, the beginning of it, and then my aunt, she was like in the room, and she made me turn it off, but I wanted to keep watching it. So, and I felt like just so like it was so forbidden for me to. I was like in, I think, first or maybe kindergarten or first grade, and just watching an R-rated movie felt so forbidden.
It was exciting. I can remember that for me it was watching movies like that on HBO. This is before even video rental. In the late 70s, HBO started to become like, a bigger and bigger thing. More and more people had it. And I would go to my dad's house on the weekends and he had HBO. We didn't have that in our house, but he did. So every time I'd go there on the weekend, I would watch all the biggies I saw there, like Phantasm, Halloween, The Fog, The Thing, all of those big late 70s, early 80s movies I saw on HBO. And the stuff that was really scary was Halloween. Really was probably one of the first movies that really was scary, like in a different way than monster movies were on TV, like Dracula and the Wolfman and everything. That was cool, and I liked watching it, but it wasn't really scary. But Halloween was really scary, and I watched it with my sister, who was around my age. I think I was 9 years old. Thanks. I think I was 9 years old, and so she must have been like 7 or 6 or 7. And we were watching Halloween with babysitters, with teenage babysitters watching us.
I remember my dad watched it and couldn't fall asleep because he was so freaked out by it. And when you're a little kid, you're like, man, if this scared my dad, you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to watch it. Bill, the HBO movie that everybody in my like third or fourth grade class talked about was The Beast Within, that nobody could get through it. It was like too intense for them. Now I watch it and it's really not, but I guess that transformation sequence really freaked them out.
Beast Within's pretty scary. I think it's a really creepy movie, especially the beginning of it where they're in the woods and there's this monster walking through there. I thought that was pretty creepy.
Yeah. It's got a great poster too.
Yeah.
That's what's fascinating to me, to hear what other people, what their original like kinder trauma moments were when they watched horror movies. It's different for everybody. But
I was like, it's always been around for me, and I was slowly like weaned into it. Like, my sister would show me, a lot of like PG movies or PG-13 stuff, and then slowly like, a few R-rated movies. I remember being in third grade, and she'd be like, "Okay, you can watch Child's Play now, or you can watch, a lot of like early 2000s stuff like Joyride or Ghost Ship or whatever, and Poltergeist." So I was like slowly she was kind of introducing me to all this stuff, and then okay, now you can watch Scream, and now you can watch this, and then when I got a little bit older, I kind of started discovering things on my own, and I really kind of got into more exploitation stuff, and on my own, it was just like kind of discovering all this different things, and I went kind of deeper into.
How did you find those movies?
I mean, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. I mean, I used to read Fangoria, so there was that, and then this was also to like discovering stuff on, whatever was on like the movie channels because I would just surf through the channels and see what was playing. And then also when I got a little bit older too, I started like going on YouTube, and you know, there used to be a whole YouTube. I mean, there still is, but like back in the day, I think it was different. Like a whole YouTube community where people would like have like channels dedicated to just talking about movies, and there's also a lot of that too, where discovering stuff, and then once you discover one thing, you kind of go down a hole, and you're like, oh, this person made that, and then this is similar to that, and so it was a lot of that too.
We didn't have access to different programming back in like the 70s and the 80s, but in a way that was better because it forced us to watch whatever movies we were able to watch on TV, and sometimes it was stuff you didn't want to watch, but you watched it anyway and you ended up liking something different. So that was an interesting way to discover new movies.
Discovered a lot of stuff like that too. Just it was like I can specifically remember like Wild Things. It was on USA, and I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just leave it on, and then I love that movie so much. I have no shame. When I was younger, that Kevin Bacon scene when he walks out of the shower, that I
it was
would
life-changing.
that, and I would enjoy that 3-second clip.
That's another thing we always talk about on this show is our like those crucial sex moments in movies.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but yeah, I did jerk off to Kevin Bacon in Wild Things. But Matt Dillon is really, he's really, he's so hot in that. But yeah, that 3-second clip when he walks out of the shower, and then when you pause the VHS, it's all scrambled and you can't even see it anymore. But hey, I made do with what I had.
There was always a line in the VHS, right, when there was like a boob scene or whatever from other people that had rented it before and just paused.
Oh yeah, I remember going like you'd put on like channel 99 and it was a scrambled porn, and you're like, oh, I think I saw a nipple,
Yeah, that's why that opening scene of American Pie was so funny, because a lot of teenagers had actually done that. They had like watched like the scrambled channels, like.
Yeah, sometimes it would fade in and out. Like you could see it a little bit better, and then it would fade away.
Oh my god, I remember. Taking me back.
Ours was if you were right. HBO was 5 and Cinemax was 6 on our cable, and if you turned the dial like right between them, you could almost get them. My parents were like, "We're not getting Cinemax." And I'm like, "Oh, there's so many reasons to subscribe to Cinemax." There weren't any. But dare to dream.
They showed all the dirty stuff at night, right?
Cinemax Cinemax After Dark. That was their most famous show. And then now that you watch them, like they could almost run on regular today. A couple of Joe D'Amato movies ran on it. Emmanuel in America ran on it, which freaked me out because I was like, why is there a snuff movie in this movie? Like I had no idea. 12-year-old Sam did not know Joe D'Amato was out to upset you, not titillate you. So, yeah.
Isn't that Marilyn Chambers was on Cinemax, wasn't she?
Some of her movies, yeah. There's some were on USA up all night too.
No, she had a show on Cinemax. It was like an adult program on Cinemax, I think, and then she did a softcore-ish one for USA.
Yeah, she did. And there's 2 movies: Marilyn Chambers Fantasies and The Diary of Marilyn, that also has Tara Buckman from Night Killer in it. Sorry, I have to mention Night Killer every week. Yeah, thank you. I get paid every time I mention it.
It's your Halloween H2O.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Yeah, those will be up because I'm doing a USA Up All Night month right now, guys, and so I've watched way too many bad USA movies the last couple weeks. Like, who knew that there was like multiple movies called Bikini Car Wash? There's like 2 different ones, and there's a Bikini Car Wash too, which is nowhere near as good as the first one, which is not good. On my deathbed, will I regret watching all these bikini car wash movies? No, not at all.
Well, I'm getting dry, so I think we should do the second theme cocktail of the evening, brought to you by Sam Panico and Becca Panico, who is Sam's cinematographer.
And really sets everything up.
Yeah.
Now it's great. I just walk in and she has the drinks already. I'm like the talent. I just come in and she's like, here's where everything is. Don't make a mess. Versus before, I would just spill stuff everywhere.
I wish someone would set up the program for me.
I know.
Okay. All right, so here we go.
I'm burning up for your love.
I'm burning up. Hey, Oliver Reed was a legendary alcoholic, and I think he wouldn't like this drink. He'd say, this is too girly. Why don't you just drink 30 pints of vodka? He died from drinking, over drinking. And we probably shouldn't celebrate that, but we're probably going to celebrate that. Anyway, Burnt Karen. Real simple. This is perhaps the simplest drink we've ever made. Mm-hmm. We got an ounce of Fireball. That's the end of the Fireball. Goodbye, Fireball. Sadness.
This is called to clean out the cabinet.
It is. Clean out the cabinet. Clean out the cabinet. We got an ounce of sour apple pucker. And we got, ask for it by name, Dole pineapple juice. 2 ounces of that. Put it all together. You have a great wife. She'll put it together for you. I need to get some ice.
No, you just put it in there.
All right. Let's put it in there.
Because you're pouring it over ice.
All right.
That doesn't do anything. It's all in the hands of the person. The bull in the china shop.
The messiness. Okay, here we go.
Ooh. If you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain.
If you like making love at... This is a musical episode. Is this the musical episode?
Yeah.
And if you like making love at midnight in the dunes of the Cape, you're probably going to get sand in your ass. Mm. Anyway, Pazuzu. This is a delicate aperitif, as they say. This is the Burnt Karen. So called because it's got Fireball in it. I feel like a young girl going to Sheetz, grabbing some of that cheap Fireball.
An easy Friday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
We got Fireball. We can drink it in the stands during a football game.
Drink it in the woods.
Mm. That is nice. This is like a sipping drink.
Oh,
Go out on a porch in a fall night. Maybe I'll bring this to the drive-in, sip this, and be like, I like William Shatner. He's a pretty good actor. I like that Oliver Reed. He should choke that kid in the pool a little more.
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu, Betty Davis.
And Pazuzu to all of Yuzu.
Great. Now I just have water. I have to do water cheers. Dang it.
This drink really is good. I gotta say. I was on brand for these 2 cocktails tonight, and I'm happy about it.
You're usually the audience. I want to make sure that you're happy with the cocktails. That's what's important to me.
Not me.
You. I said you are. You're the important.
Oh, okay. I thought you said the audience.
No, someone's asking me to make sandwiches every week now too, so I guess it's gonna be a lot more work. What sandwich goes with burnt offerings? I don't know, but if I had to make the sandwich from
something that you would take to Mrs. Allardyce.
Yeah,
Ray.
Watercress sandwiches for her. If I had to make the sandwich from Mirror Mirror, we'd be here all day. That sandwich was monstrous. I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did.
So I have to share, I had a great experience watching this movie at a theater in Chelsea, which is now closed. At the time, it was known as the Chelsea Clearview. And Hedda Lettuce, the drag queen, would host great campy movies every week and would do a semi-running commentary. And so she did Burnt Offerings one week, and she did like the other side of the conversation when Karen Black is like talking through the door, like to Mrs. Allardyce. And we were just like dying. And like at one point, it's like, you know, she says like, "Have you been going down to the kitchen and eating food at night?" And Hedda's just like a mouse. So anyway, good times.
I like that that's the deal. Like, if they're going to live in this house, you have to take care of this woman that you'll never see. And you have to, like, do cleaning projects. And, yeah, okay. Seems like a good summer.
That alone, like, I don't know. I couldn't sleep under the same roof with someone that I had not come face to face with yet. It's just too creepy.
Yeah.
I was saying to my partner that this is part of that sort of subgenre of horror movies where people have to ignore their gut instincts, because there are moments all through it where you can tell they're all sort of not comfortable with it. Like Oliver Reed's not comfortable with it. And then there's little things that Karen Black notices, like, why are the flowers on this tray suddenly alive when they were just dead? And she just forgets about it. Like, even the like almost drowning of the son is kind of like glossed over. Like, oh, I'm sure you didn't mean it. Like, why did he suddenly almost kill his child? Like, oh, let's just forget about it.
It has a lot of the Amityville things where they're like, it's about the housing crisis. Like, we got such a good deal on this house. And I've been there. I found out later that somebody overdosed in my basement. You know, 3 years after we've lived here, our neighbor's like, someone overdosed in the basement. I'm like, oh, where all my movies are, and I spend hours watching horror movies? Like, yeah, he died down there. Cool.
You do have a horror basement.
Yeah. So you know what? But it didn't upset me. I was like, oh, he has the ambiance. Maybe he'll possess my Kathy's Curse poster that I have up on the wall. Like, we'll see. But
Coma,
yeah,
is your microphone muted again?
What'd you say?
I think Coma's microphone is muted again. So,
I think, but in Amityville, it's the same thing. They're like, God, we got such a good deal, and like, we got to go to the bank again. It's just such a hassle.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that's what the lure of a great vacation in this movie will get you past the supernatural if you're Oliver Reed and family. Also, he was drunk as fuck. He didn't care. He's like, whatever. I'm seeing stuff all the time.
this was a novel before it was a film. It was adapted from a novel, and the novel is significantly different than the film in that there is an explanation provided for the mysterious things that are happening in this house that you're going to see in the movie. And I won't address it until afterwards, but it's totally from left field.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember more about it because I know I read the book years ago, but I can tell you it was different than what I saw on the screen. And I love when that happens, when you go back and read a book and there's little cool things in there that weren't in the movie. You're like, oh yeah, oh that makes sense. Like, Annie doing her clothes in the laundry room and saying, fuck that bluing.
I'm shocked that nobody's ever remade this movie. And I hate to say that because I'm jinxing it by saying it. But it feels like the kind of movie that could be easily remade.
Definitely.
Maybe somebody will. In any case, I posted the link to our second feature, Burnt Offerings, on the Groovy Doom Facebook page. It's also on Tubi, so it's going to be pretty easy to find on there.
Yay, Tubi!
Yeah, I love Tubi.
I do too.
I wanted to shout them out. Yeah, they have such great horror content, especially.
Yeah, they have a Italian horror and giallo channel. Like, who knew? Like, it blows my mind today. Like, in the years where we had to hunt for these movies, it's like, this is free. Go ahead and watch all these movies. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You just got to watch a couple, sports betting commercials and stuff like insurance.
Do you need insurance? Do you need Geico? Like, you might have to watch some of those.
Unless you have an ad blocker installed on your browser.
But do you have to still sit through the breaks?
No, it literally will say your program will resume after the break, and then it'll just keep going. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Justin, I never thought about doing that. I actually pay for YouTube. It's like $13 a month, and it's the best $13 I spend on any given month because I don't have to watch any fucking commercials on there. Maybe all I need is an ad blocker.
Could
be.
All right. So come back after the movie. We'll have lots to say about Burn Off. And we'll also announce our next program the week after next on the Drive-In Asylum late movie. So we'll see you back after the flick.